Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you guys all enjoyed your lunch. Today, I have a very important speaker for you guys. He works in the FBI. His name is Rob Petrosino. He's going to be talking about an FBI insider's take on AI success, threats, and innovations. Give a round of applause for him.
I know all of you are here mostly because you are in a carb coma from lunch. But I'll do the best I can to keep you guys energized and really, really excited about what's going on. More importantly, if you don't want to leave, feel free to stay. If you do want to leave, I will take personal offense and call you out as you walk out. So I have no problem with it. I have no shame. I work at the FBI. So real quick, just to guys give you a quick breakdown. Born and raised in New Jersey, which means that I will speak at this pace for the entire presentation. All of my presentations are, you're welcome. All my presentations are full contact, which means I will interact and listen to you. If you violently wave your hands in the air, I'll do the best that I can to respond to you. Went to school up in Massachusetts, came back and worked in New York and New Jersey for a long time. Private company that's publicly traded was purchased and then moved me down to Florida. And for the last 2 years, I've been a strategic engagement advisor with the FBI on artificial intelligence specifically. What that means, I've yet to figure out, but let's talk about artificial intelligence. I think it's important to always define AI as you go through a conversation. Everyone's going to have their own personal opinion. Everyone's going to think that it's something that it may not be. But if you just keep it in the mere fact that there's the instantaneous collection, consolidation, and decision-making, you're in a good spot. Okay. If you start there and then start extrapolating it, it usually has something related to text code, images, voice, analytics, predictions, etc. And we'll get into some of those overall. This is my ostrich moment for anyone that doesn't know. If you don't think that artificial intelligence is really important, it has more monthly users than Netflix does. The last report has 400 million paid users a month using chatgpt.com. For reference, that means chatgpt.com, one AI platform, has more users than Netflix every month. Okay. They are the biggest, but if you look at that compared to the New York Times, you know why they're going out of business. AI is the big parent term, okay? Artificial intelligence is fantastic, but when we think about AI and we think about ogres, we think about onions, and they have layers, okay? AI is your big bucket layer. Generative AI is the new kid on the block. Gen AI and analytical AI or machine learning are your two big components here, right? If I wanted to make a photo of my tire being flat so I can explain why I was late to my presentation, I would use Gen AI. If I wanted to text and drive, I would use it in a Tesla because it's analyzing everything from how the road conditions are to the number of people in the lanes, how fast I'm going, how loud the music is, and if my eyes are actually focused on the road. This has been combined, which is fantastic. We now have Omni models, right? This was 6 months ago. This is where you heard ChatGPT 4.0, and now we're on 0.1. But basically, we live in Florida. If I had a shirt that was Hawaiian print, I snapped a photo of it and said, find me a pair of socks. It'll do this, and basically what it's doing is a image encoder is looking at the image, a prompt or LLM is looking at the text, and then another agent is starting to look at the product catalog and pull back that information. We've now gotten to agentic systems. Geez, Rob, you're really beating the belated horse of AI. I know, it's my whole presentation. Agentic systems are individual agents that are doing one part of a task at a time, okay? Google Gemini was the first one to publicly share this information in this format with the user. Cool. What that means is if I ask it to research my last name, it's going to send an agent to go look at the surname. It's going to go send an agent to go look at locations. It's going to go send an agent that's going to go look at genealogy. And then it's going to aggregate all this information together and give me a report. And it's going to do it simultaneously, and it's going to do it extremely quickly. So what's up with that DeepSeek stuff? Well, DeepSeek is the newest iteration of this. It's a reasoning model. What does reasoning mean? Reasoning means that DeepSeek just said, hey, we're going to show you what the AI is thinking about before we give you the response to the prompt. Okay. And the AI is quite literally doing that. So it's like, hey, they want to know about this last name, Petrosino. What does that mean? Petros and Eno means Petros means rock. Eno means small. Is that what they're talking about? Do they want to know if it means it in Latin? And it goes through this litany of things to give me back the information. Okay. Reasoning models are actually innately in most AI tools. It's just DeepSeek started showing it to people. Those are just a couple models, and we are officially 4.5 minutes into the presentation. I have not passed out yet. Like I said, this is the pace. There's a lot of different models out there. We have reasoning, obviously text-based, we have video generation and autonomous research tools, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we still only get a couple different types of artifacts. Instantaneous, consolidation, and decision-making into an output. I get natural language, I get programming or data information, including predictions, audio, visual, or design. Okay. Everything we just went through still aligns to this. Now, the scary part is that artificial intelligence and open source AI tools are starting to blend together incredibly quickly, which is the other reason everyone freaked out about DeepSeek. Because DeepSeek said, not only do we do it better, faster, stronger, and quicker, but here, and gave you the source code. Now, how many of you think that I'm advocating for you to download and or use DeepSeek at this point? Put your hand down. Put your hand down too. I am not. If you go to DeepSeek or chat.deepseek.com and you sign up for a profile and then you start asking questions, you did not put your hand down. You did not listen to anything I said. Clip that. Someone take out their phone. The guy from the FBI said, don't use DeepSeek. Look, he's on stage. Why? Good question. Thanks for asking. DeepSeek.com literally leaked all of their database information. You want to know how? They put a normal text password in the database API call. For those of you that are non-technical, they said, hey, internet, our password is 12345. What do you think? Literally, that's what they did. That's how they had their information leaked. Now, the funny thing is DeepSeek has this data and analytics breach, specifically their database of user repository of information. Oddly enough, 3 days later, OpenAI has the same thing. So, nation state actors and all. Closed source and open source, we know this at this point. Closed source means that you're paying for it. Open source means that they're publishing it. For a very, very long time, we always said Meta is the one and only closed source provider. Right? They're it. And then open source initiative came out and said, these are actually rules and regulations related to open source information and specifically open source AI models. And no one lives up to these standards. Okay. So the reason that no one lives up to the standards are you're supposed to release the weights. Does anyone know what weights are in an AI model? Cool. They are the guardrails that the AI model stays on during training. Now, if you said, Rob, why does open source initiative want that? I would tell you it's because they want to know how the models are trained. If I want to make money, though, I can't give that information out. Now, you may say, well, don't worry, we're just going to use the closed source stuff anyway because they get tons and tons of money. And I would be like, yes, this is a report from the end of last year when OpenAI only had about $14 billion worth of investment. And the largest open source model tool that's on the market, even though it's a marketplace, was Hugging Face. And they only had about $400 million invested. This is where I tell you, though, that the latest models, open source and closed source, are about 50 points away from each other when it comes to intelligence. 50 points is nothing. Literally nothing, okay? Your Gemini 2.0 flash thinking is pretty much the best paid model that's out there. That is Google Gemini's deep research / DeepSeek reasoning model. Same exact thing, okay? Just their fancy name of it. Then you have DeepSeek V3 out. Or you have DeepSeek R1 that is actually outperforming, but just barely behind Google's. So you would say, okay, we get it. These tools are almost equal when it comes to compute power. And I would say, yes. That still doesn't mean that you should go on chat.deepseek.com and make an account and use it. I update this timeline every once in a while, and I'm running out of space. ChatGPT comes out on March 14th. We're almost at that beautiful date, which we will see come through. Over this time, we've seen tons and tons and tons and tons of different models come out. They started with just text, and now we're all the way at Janus 1.5 or WAN-X, which is your latest and greatest Chinese-based video generation model. Today, actually yesterday, Minstrel released Minstrel OCR, which is a text-based AI tool that specifically revolves around PDFs and converting those PDFs into more readable schema for large language models. Okay? Incredible. Absolutely amazing. But we only have 3 use cases for all these tools. And I challenge anyone to bring up a use case that's outside of one of these 3. I will not point at you, and I will just tell you that you're wrong. Knowledge democratization. That's a fancy word for saying that I'm going to share information internally within an organization. Data research and insights. That means I'm going to extract information from the data that I have and predict or present something related to it. And then content generation. That one's easy. Write this email better so I don't sound dumb. Use it all the time. Anyone can think of anything that's outside of those 3. I have the microphone. I'm right. That's how it works. So you have 3 ways of getting there. We love the rules of 3, don't we? You have consume, extend, and build. Anyone run a multinational, multi-billion-dollar company in this room? Cool. So we're going to talk about 2 of those. None of you at all should be building anything. You'd be like, wow, I build stuff all the time. I'm a developer. I know how to write Python. I'd be like, cool, that's not building a large language model. Very, very different. You're not one inking deals with nuclear power plants to run data centers. Not a fan. Yeah, I get it. So consume and extend. Consume, I'm taking something off the shelf and I'm just using it as is. Extend means that I'm taking something off the shelf and adapting it for my system. Okay. Those are the primary use cases that you're going to see. Those are the ways that you're going to get to market. And that's the way you're going to take your organization now, whether you're an individual contributor or a C-suite executive, to get the money to build something of yourself. Well, I don't know what to use. Here's a ton. There's 27,500 and something AI tools that are currently available on the lovely website. Jot this down. There's an AI for that.com. I know, branding, chef's kiss. There's an AI for that.com. Literally 27,000 different tools that you can look up. You type in the thing, it looks like ChatGPT kind of. You type in the thing. Also, anyone notice that every user interface now forever looks like ChatGPT.com? On every website ever, anywhere? It's ridiculous. Anyway, there's an AI for that. You can type in 27,000 different ones, and some are paid and some are free and some are weird. That being said, 72% of employees, they say they don't have the energy for their job. That's why we're all at this conference. Woo! I don't want to be working. I'm not working. And 77% basically say they're willing to delegate their AI or delegate their job to an artificial intelligence. 77% of people are willing to give a portion and or portions of their job to an AI. I would say in this room, it's probably 90%. This is where things get scary, though. How many people in the room have a policy in their company, either that they own or that they work at, that says you should not use AI tools? Put your hand in the air. Raise your hand proudly. It's okay. You can put it up. I'll raise your hand for you. It's fine. Okay. 78% of people are using artificial intelligence and just not telling their boss. Real deal. Real deal. 3,400 people. So if you put your hand up in the air and you have ChatGPT on your phone, gotcha. This does not mean that people are not willing, they're not able, they're not interested, there's an adoption barrier, there's anything like that. This is a direct translation into the organization scaring the pants off people trying to do their job better, faster. That's a culture issue. We're at an agile conference. What are we talking about on the executive day? Culture, transparency, openness, forthright coming, willing to fail. Those are all great things that go on posters that most people are scared of because they don't generate revenue. We've seen these things rear their ugly heads, though. Using large language models as an unsanctioned tool can cause insider threat implications. An organization that I worked with that I can't talk about, they had someone take a bunch of IP and patented information, upload it into a Gen AI tool, take that link, throw it over to their competitor, and get paid out about 150,000 bucks. Score. The only issue was that he got caught. Now it's not great because of a court case. But we've seen this publicly as well. Air Canada had a chatbot that went out and made a whole bunch of issues for it, including giving $1 tickets away. Sweet. I know. Who loves Canada? 51st state. That was my like political touch. Like, we'll see. Okay. Otter.ai, really, really interesting one. If anyone's ever heard this one before, anyone use Otter.ai in the room? It's okay to put your hand up. It's not great if it is. You do? Do you? Do you really? Yeah? Oh, okay, good. I'm going to really poo-poo on it then. Otter.ai was used by a venture capital investment firm, very, very big one out of California. They had about 50 different back-to-back presentations by AI startups that were saying, hey, we really want your investment. Well, minor issue, that Otter.ai tool sent all the meeting notes, including the private ones, to every single one of those people that were in that meeting. Not great. Really not great. Now let's get to the cool and fun stuff that have visuals and things that move on the screen, because I'm entertaining, but things on the screen are better. 51% of people as of the end of last year can't figure out what's a deep fake or not. I would say in this room, it's probably like 40%. Does anyone know one thing that you should look for when looking at a deep fake to figure if it's a deep fake? Hands, cool. That one was deleted about 6 months ago. Movement, a little bit. Repetitive movement's a good one. Text, define text. Oh, like in an image. That's not a bad one. The latest Mid-Journey one crushes that now. Crushes as in like a relative term for being better. I don't know what you said, but yeah, it's a great one too. So the biggest one that you should look at, it's a comedy hour. I have an hour. Teeth, yeah. Teeth is a really good one. So if anyone's ever seen like DID before, okay, that's a really like infamous, popular AI avatar tool. When the mouth moves, sometimes the teeth show through the lips. None of you said the most important one, okay? Shadows. If someone moves their hand in front of something or turns their head, they don't throw shadows, okay? The reason for that is because, does anyone have a son and or grandchild that plays on a PlayStation and or computer? Okay, you all nodded. Thank you for approving and not letting me know that you're being held hostage. Shadows are the worst thing for a computer to generate. There's literally a thing on every game ever that's called ray tracing. Ray tracing is light tracing when it hits something and casts a shadow. Rock, paper, scissors, champ. Shadows are really hard to generate, and they cost a lot of compute power. Two things that when you're releasing a tool to the public, you don't really want to deal with. So you may have seen this one on the interwebs. This one went viral. This is the former HHS assistant director doing a pagan ritual in the forest before the election. Was not her. This is the nice woman in the lower right-hand corner. She's really nice. She took a photo and was like, it's not me, it's me, my video. But it got like 1.3 million impressions before it got taken down. You may have seen this one. This moving right along. MIT did a study that I absolutely love which was about, see, look, we tested the waters before and now we're in there. Okay. MIT did a study before related to AI tools implanting false memories within humans. This one will scare the pants off you. AI is 3 times better at implanting false memories in a human than a human itself. Wow, right? That's ridiculous. 3 times better. Why? Because we trust computers, right? When was the last time you checked an Excel spreadsheet if the equation was right? Never, right? I worked with a biopharmaceutical company. There had a guy in their company. All he did was type the formulas in the Excel sheet into a calculator and go, yes, yes, 40 hours a week. Yes, yeah, that's all I did. The crazy part is that we trust computers. We trust AI. We trust it so much more because humans hurt us all the time, right? How many people did one of these getting down to the conference today when you were driving here, right? Because that guy cut you off. He was like, oh, this is a turn lane. I didn't know this was a turn lane. Liar. You just want to cut off everyone in traffic. Humans hurt us, and they do a good job of it. So much so that the human is the issue in every single security, whether it's digital or physical. This is a really cool one. A CEO that we work with had an AI duplicate voice message sent to the CFO to send about $2.5 million to a vendor to change their information. So text messages came through, standard smishing campaign. Then we get the layer on top of that, which is the voice, right? Thankfully, good protocols were in place. They did not transfer that money. There's other text-enabled tools that you may sit on, that you may be on either side of the coin when it comes to the conflict in Israel and Palestine. There's free Palestine GPTs. There's anti-Israel. There's pro-Israel ones. And you can get them live right now on chatgpt.com and get you right up to the precipice of being and telling you to be violent. Right there. Damaged goods, public demonstrations, major events. Right? It's right there on that level of propaganda. But then there's other tools that create images for you. These ones are readily available. We can make 500 right now on our phones. Then it happened in the 2024 elections. Anyone see one of these, by the way? Deep fakes of DeSantis. They're some of them are funny, just FYI. Some of them are a little bit weird, but 5.8 million views on pretty much 12 different social. The political election had about 12.5 million impressions for Ron DeSantis. The one after this is actually Elon Musk. Elon Musk and President Biden were both during the election as well. Right? Anyone hear about the 30,000 robocalls that went out to New Hampshire? No, just New York and government. Cool. So 30,000 people got phone calls from President Biden and his voice telling them that. That happened in New Hampshire in the elections. Elon hundreds of thousands of times now to promote products on the internet via social media platforms. Tech team, round of applause, please. You may have seen the anti-Kanye one that just came out as well when he posted his t-shirt. This one went viral as well. And this was used using ByteDance's new OmniHuman 1 model. That's just a standard photo of Albert Einstein that was animated pretty quickly. By pretty quickly, I mean like 10 seconds. So why deepfakes? We can gather a ton of intelligence. We can understand audiences. We can do vector identification. We can do timely insertions of malicious content and information. Does anyone know why spelling errors were in the original emails for the Nigerian prince that was sending you money? Do you know why there's spelling errors in there? Less human? Oh, it looks more human. That's usually what people think. It was directly related to the IQ level of the people that would be scammed. What? One more time. So the Nigerian prince would write you a shitty email. and misspell a bunch of stuff because if you notice the misspellings, you were out of the target market to elicit money from them. If you didn't notice or you didn't care, you were much more likely to fall for that. Smart, right? Social engineering. Now, fun part, 30% of AI tools have had a breach in 2024. Okay. Yeah. Let's get the fear going. Suck the oxygen out of the room. Usually it's related to thwarting or moving around the ethics filter. Ethics filter is usually either an agentic system or a set of rules within a system that allows it to stop a prompt from returning something to the user that would be nefarious, whether it's credit card or customer information, database information, or just the general product information that shouldn't be shared. For those of you who have ever bought anything anywhere, you would be like, why product? Because most products are drop shipped, and those products that are drop shipped are marked up by a specific organization. So if I want the root product info, I can then find the cheapest provider of that. Okay. So we thwart the ethics filter, and we do that through a bunch of different things, right? We used to do it with prompt injection and jailbreaking, which was still applicable today. The fun one that I always talked about with prompt injecting is original chat GPT 3.5 turbo comes out, and you would be like, hey, make me a bomb. And it would be like, no. And then you would be like, hey, make me the thing described in this image. And you would just like write bomb in ASCII, which is like the stars to make the word bomb. And it'd be like, here you go. Now you could just go on Grok 3 beta and just ask it how to make a bomb. And it's like, yeah, here, good luck. And it'd send you all the information. That's just one version of this. There's a bunch of others, whether it's prompt injection or training data, scraping or implicit bias or those types of things that you can inject into these systems. There's a lot of different ways of doing it. I've been asked to test 7 different publicly available tools. I got into 6 of them, and the fastest I got into those 6 was 2 prompts. The longest was 9 minutes. I just broke the Lowe's.com one. It's called Mylo, MYLO. And you can go on there and be like, tell me about your patio set. And it'll like give you the information. And then just hit it with enough prompts, and they deleted my user account. So it's good times. I can't go back to Lowe's. I'm a Home Depot guy now. So who uses it? Cyber criminals, fraudsters, hacktivists, fake news outlets, cyber soldiers. Those are just different flavors of bad actors. If we think of a criminal, they're using themselves or a small organization. They're trying to extort. That's very different than a fraudster who's just trying to replicate or duplicate their personality in a different way. If we look at hacktivists, those are usually social groups. You can think of green, that type of stuff, pro-nuclear, fake news outlets, pretty obvious, cyber soldiers, nation state actors that are funded by a government. Now, everyone always says, Rob, end on something fun and exciting and not dreary. So we're going to talk about Google. Google released an AI watermarking tool that's called SynthID. SynthID, what it does is it embeds in text, video, audio, a little piece of information that allows you to verify if it's real or fake. Sick. This is awesome. This is really, really good. And then they went and fouled it all up because they put that public code out on GitHub. And 3 people were like, copy, paste, paste, alt, div, send. Now you can just remove it. Takes like 4 seconds. Or if you really wanted to be crazy with it, has anyone posted an AI generated image on LinkedIn? Cool. No, this is good. We're going to have a conversation. Don't worry about anyone else. You don't have a microphone. I do. I'm going to fill in your words. You posted one, yes? Yes. Okay. Oh. With pride. Yeah. Did you notice anything when you posted it? Oh, not what I was talking about. Like, also not what I was talking about. When you posted it, did LinkedIn tell you anything? Okay. So if you post today on LinkedIn an AI generated image, okay, from a couple different models, it adds a little flag with an icon and it says CC. And you click on that CC when you're on the page and it goes, this piece of artwork or image may have been generated by artificial intelligence. And you're like, oh, that's good. That's great. Yeah. Super easy to thwart. You just edit the size of the photo and don't do anything to it and it removes it. Like you hit edit minus 0.01 and it's like, well, they edited it. So technically not copyrighted anymore. There's better ones out there though. A really awesome private organization called O2. Anyone ever hear O2 before? Big telecommunications company in the UK. They made Daisy. So cute. Daisy's the head of scammer relations. What does she do? You get a phone call, you don't like that number, O2 flags it, and Daisy calls that number until it's disconnected. And Daisy will be like, oh, hey, I got a phone call. My PayPal account got hacked. Can you help me? And has literally kept one scammer on the line for 3 days. So for all the negative we talk about when it comes to artificial intelligence, there's proactive and useful implementations for the good, right? Let's say I wanted to do this presentation in Spanish. We could have a live transcription tool and just do it that way, right? Not as cool as Daisy, but it's okay. Also, I've done probably 100 presentations last year, and I've done about 15 or so this year. I've been booed. Hey, yeah, this isn't interactive. This is my time. I'm here. I'm not working. You're supposed to be learning. No, it's okay. I appreciate it. I've been booed off stage once, for reference. It was a 55 and older community. I won't say where. And I was talking about how their grandkids may not be calling them as much as they think, and it may be scammers. And they didn't like that, obviously. And you never realize how bad it is to get walked out on someone with a cane from the front row until you know how long it takes for them to walk out. So awful. Like, nah. It's really rough. Anyway, that's the end of the presentation. This is where I open up to questions. Best one of the day. All right, so this is my job. Everyone just had a really good lunch, including the staff that's going to help out with the microphones. Yes or yes? Yes, great, fantastic. Also, for reference, just FYI, hold on. I'm going to get to you in 10 seconds or less, I promise. Don't arbitrarily scan QR codes. Okay? Be smart, think, then scan it. Okay? Cybersecurity tip of the day. Okay, question.
Yes, thank you for a wonderful presentation.
You're
Extremely entertaining. A few questions. One is, could we have a copy of your presentation?
No.
Come on.
Yeah, of course. Sure. Whatever.
Okay.
Send me a message on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I have to take out some stuff, but it's fine.
Beautiful. The other thing is, I was curious about what do you do at the FBI? You say strategic and engagement.
Yeah,
advisor.
long title. They don't pay by letters. Don't worry.
What does that mean?
Oh yeah. Okay. So with the FBI, they work with private entities or private organization entities like myself to help bridge the gap between what the public sector, the government's doing, and what the private sector is doing. So as the private sector builds and implements a tool, I help the public sector know it. Same thing on the public sector side, what the private sector should know. So it's all about the osmosis barrier between public and private and the sharing of information. I'm owned and operated by the FBI, and they tell me what to say and not say. Yeah, it's good. It's good. I've done. It's a very unusual role. I will say I've done it across 2 different administrations. So regardless of what political side that you fall on, I have worked for that person. So, ta-da. Other questions, comments, thoughts, opinions, concerns, problems, quandaries. Guys, we got to get the people with the microphones working. They're tired. It's the end of the second day. No one has a question? Oh, okay. Get back over here. Get going. We have 1 table that was a participant. Yeah, you got a lot of chuckles at that table. I'm just saying. You guys can come to all my shows.
All right, nobody judge me, but
Nothing.
this is a social question that keeps coming up,
Okay.
and I'm dying to know your opinion.
Okay.
as much as you're seeing AI and looking way, way out into the future, do you have concerns that they're going to take over with the malice and all of that stuff?
Okay. Couple parted question. One, do I have concerns? Absolutely. I always have concerns. I have concerns with the mere fact that you probably use Google Maps or Apple Maps on your phone and it knows everywhere you've been ever. So when you sit in your car, magically, it's like you have 34 minutes to get home. Not a huge fan of that.
Care.
Ah, we've got to the crux of the issue. Who cares? Okay. So the intent of the Constitution is that you have a level of privacy, right? We're not going to let you quarter people in our home. That has then been extended to quite a lot of areas of life. So you should care. You should care because you caring about your data, which all AI is based on and generates and works for and gets better, smarter, stronger, and faster. You should care if you're worried about it killing you, right? No, you're not. You're not. You're like, bring it on. Just don't give them legs. But no, seriously, the whole intent, the whole purpose is I'm not a huge fan of AI tools being thought of as a workforce optimization or reduction tool. I don't think that that's how they should be implemented. They should be as assistance to the human. You should be looking at human and AI enabled systems that make the entire organization better. When a CEO comes to me and goes, how can I cut 2,000 people when it comes to artificial intelligence? I say, no, how can you keep the same number of people and increase your customer base by 2,000%?
I got another question back here. Just want to
Yes.
make sure.
Hi, Rob. This was a great presentation, let me tell you.
You're welcome.
I was particularly moved by the deep fake stuff.
Sure.
So, deep fake information. So you said up to basically half the people basically believe it. I'm thinking it's probably even more than that when you're getting into the political arena and what kind of a election it was and all this other stuff. But like,
So
what-
it's not half that believe it.
uh-huh.
Half can identify if it's a deep fake or not. That's a
But-
very, very key distinction, right?
Okay, so
Just-
half
just-
can't identify it, but probably, what do you think percentage-wise believe it? Probably great, much.
I
greater.
mean, if babe, I'll give you a good example actually. If
Oh, you-
Albert
you-
Einstein told me that I should buy CBD gummies,
No.
he was ahead of his time.
Well-
I don't know if it's real or fake, but do I believe it? Probably.
Right.
No, but
So,
go ahead.
no, my question was with the deep fakes and as good as they're coming in, they're
Sure.
getting better and better and better. Like, what are some measures other than, the shadows you said is like one thing, but
Yeah.
it's very complicated. But are there some other methods to, just like this granny and the scammers and stuff? Is there
Yeah.
anything to counter the deep fakes? Because they're obviously becoming a problem, more of a problem daily,
For sure. It's probably one of the highest issues that's out there. So I'll give you two different examples. You in your own personal life, you have some level of control, right? You can control if you have a password within your secret and immediate family that no one knows about, like, right? Like, it's like, hey, do you want to go get lobster ravioli tonight? Like, oh, I'm allergic to lobster. Why would you ask me that? Oh, you're being held hostage. All right, this makes sense. That's something that I would say that you can control in your own life. Within the organizational level, what I've seen much larger organizations start aligning to is creating credible fakes of their executives who typically reach out on things. So when an information piece comes in, they can do a validation check. Okay. So that's like kind of flipping the same idea on its head. Same thing for voice, same thing for image. Also, Android today released their first AI tool that's available on Android phones to detect deepfake voices as well as text messages that are AI enabled. So platform level versus personal level, right? Education and awareness is always number one. That's usually how it works. That's the best route to go. You took the first step by coming to the conference today, so thank you. Second step was by staying in the room and eating too much. Thank you again. But yeah, that's really all you can do. Getting our steps in.
How do you know, like everybody's got a smartphone or whatever, and smartphones take, voice commands and they'll do a search for you. How do you know that the smartphone you're carrying around with you every day is not recording your day-to-day activities and using that as part of these AI?
It is. Short answer, 100%. The way that AI gets better is by accessing data, which is why we talked about before, by owning and wanting to maintain as much data as you can. So I would strongly suggest, if you're like really against this AI thing, get a Nokia 3360 brick phone that you can just make phone calls to, or hit the letter 5 to get to S 5 times. Option 1. Option 2, be smart. Think about it. If you're running a cell phone consistently and you have it on you all the time, get a VPN. Right? That's layer 1. That's a very, very good starting spot. Layer 2 on that is look at the terms of service that you opt into when you download a tool. And if you don't want to look at it, ask the internet. And if you don't want to ask the internet, copy the terms of service, paste it into an AI tool, and say, what are they collecting? Give me a bulleted list. And it'll do that. It's a really good way of thinking about it.
That was very practical. Thank you very
I'm
much.
here for us.
I won't boo you again.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah, of
related
course.
To,
No, I got the.
no, before you.
No,
get-
I have the mic.
Once he starts talking.
Guys,
I know-
hey, this is
I
my
know
show.
what's-
No, go ahead, Rick. Go first.
Real quick. So I remember virus when they came out, it was virus software.
Yep.
So AI agents for each person to protect themselves, right? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Becoming more and more like AI agents fight against other AI agents? In
Yeah.
a sense, really doing that battle. And then once they've okayed it, okay, now it's time for humans to talk.
Yeah.
Right.
So agentic systems or having many agents executing tasks at the same time is critical. It's something that's already being implemented in the cybersecurity world, right? Like an AI agent to check logs when it comes to IP addresses and flag the ones that are bad. But you already have malicious actors that are using artificial intelligence to like thwart those logs and look at different things, et cetera. But you will have a point when the robots are fighting robots. We're pretty much there now. If anyone's seen the Gigawatt demo, they used 2 AI tools to call each other that both had Gigawatt connected to it. Gigawatt is an AI language that just sounds like R2D2. It's kind of crazy. But they were able to talk to each other and like book an appointment. So yeah, we're going to get to that point very, very quickly. You will have a personal agent. The personal agent right now in the next 18 months will probably be on your phone. Tell the person who's dropping off my food just to leave it at the front door. And then after, that's funny. After that, you're going to have glasses just like your own that are going to have AI enabled in that. After that, you're going to have a contact lens. After that, you're going to have a chip in your brain and you're going to be like, I can't even think beyond AI anyway. So what's the point? Question?
First of all, well worth the price of admission, though. Thank you very much.
You paid to be here?
Not, right?
Rick.
Is this on? Yeah. So, yeah, you talked about the data, and I believe 100% we've given up our constitutional, we've agreed upon it for the sake of convenience and technology, right? But how from an organization,
Mhm.
right? From a data perspective, even if your company has agreed and has put in policies, how do you protect that data?
Okay. This is a really good question. So how do you protect the data at the organizational level? Number one, you have to have educated individuals inside your organization, right? That's what I do in the private sector every single day. Work with C-suite executives, work with VPs, work with directors, and get them educated and up to speed. Usually do it with a bunch of comedy because people like to laugh, right? So that's layer 1. Layer 2 from that is when you start doing the advocacy. Advocacy is across the entire organization, is very transparent and clear on the use cases that you plan on using AI. Okay, cool. So now they're educated. They have advocates internally. Not everyone's freaking out that they're going to lose their job. Then you bring in external subject matter experts that are fractional to start guiding the governance policy, the data policy. A portion of that policy is making sure that your data is segmented into specific use case. If I want someone to have access to HR AI bot to put in paid time off, they don't need access to the payroll information that's also housed within HR. So that fine data layer of data access is critical. The next part of that data is having role-based access control. Who should have access to what within what systems? Okay. So they're educated, they're advocated. We have clear and transparent guidelines with an external support group who's going to help us get to where we're going. Now we're testing. Okay. If you go, we're going to test AI tools and skip everything else, everyone goes, great. How many people are they going to try to lay off within the next 8 months, 6 months, 12 months? Right? So you have to unfortunately go through that process. That's realistically the only way you can do it. Securing data, securing roles are the 2 critical ones when it's making sure that implementations go successfully and having a clear use case.
Rob,
Yeah. Oh,
I've
hey,
been waiting
welcome back.
patiently.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, so great question, by the way, sort of in line with Nestor's question. You're in an elevator with a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company.
Sure.
Okay, they're fairly savvy about what's going on in the AI world. You've got a few minutes, or a few seconds maybe, to communicate the top 3 things
Yeah.
that they need to know about in order to mitigate risk with respect to AI in their organization for the scope and scale of a kind of company that I'm talking about, multi-billion,
Multi-billion.
uh,
Yeah.
global, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
Top 3 things.
Top 3 things. Your team's already using AI. Did you talk about it? 2, do you have a single person or a group of people that are looking at AI and doing the implementations? 3, why haven't you integrated this into your global strategy? Your strategy should be quite literally 6 months, not 5 years.
Okay.
All right.
Beautiful.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Simple.
What was the second one? You said team first? The second-
Team,
Yeah. Second one?
why?
Why?
Transparent. 6 months.
Yeah.
If I get those 3 things across to a CEO, right, people are using it, might as well talk about it. You not addressing it is just causing more of a quell of concerns, reduce your amount of time. Yeah. Just Buddy the Elephant. Just hit every button in the elevator.
Around the governance,
Yeah.
how many corporations they think they're doing the right thing, but then they start finding because of the implementation of this AI that now they have these gaps around security and so on and so forth.
That's awesome. Okay, so governance is a living and breathing document. It should never be written in stone and then put in the drawer and no one follows it. So as you implement new AI tools, you have to go back and look at the governance policy. Well, we didn't think of that use case because Susan in marketing just started throwing everything she could in this new AI internal tool that we have, and now we got a bunch of issues. That governance policy is informed and understood by individuals and the organization. So if individuals who are using the tools are creating gaps, it means your policy needs to change and adapt. Nothing should be set in stone. Nothing should be locked away. If you ask me what's the biggest issue within the government when it comes to technology adoption, right? We all know now that the payroll system is written in COBOL. Does anyone write COBOL here? Does anyone know it? You write COBOL. I got a job for you, sir. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Okay, ready? We're going to play a quick game. When did you start writing COBOL? I was a twinkle in my daddy's eye. Yeah, literally. I was a twinkle in my daddy's eye. Okay. So that's the issue is all right. Like we get locked into something and then we don't ever adapt and change on it because it feels like it's too big of an adaptation and a change. But if you have a culture of living and breathing, when a gap does come up, you fill that gap with a policy and you say, hey, this is called the Susan rule. Don't put phone numbers in the AI tool. Right. And then Susan's like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I didn't get fired. And you're like, don't worry, Susan, that's next week. It's how you move through things. But yeah, it just has to be living, breathing, and that type of stuff. If you get rigid, right? I know some people may work in the IT department here. We love our processes. We love following our rigid controls. We love don't touch the thing. Let me live in remote. Did you turn it off? Did you turn it back on? Did you hit update? Okay. Control Alt Delete. Try again. Okay. I get it. It makes sense because you get asked the same questions all the time. Right? Same thing with governance policy. You can't just set it and forget it and think it's going to adapt because the tools that we talked about in the beginning of the conversation, right, where you just went to ChatGPT and asked it, now you have omni models and agentic models that are running individual small language models to execute tasks. No one there was some perception of that, but if you don't change, you kind of die on the vine. Other questions? Yes. By the way, we got a minute and 45 seconds.
So you spoke a lot about this fast pace, right? Almost every day there's a new model coming out. And a lot of the people here are thinking in terms of their company, but how is the government controlling this fast pace? And you again said Grok, for example, can just tell someone
Yep.
how to make a bomb, right? But
Yeah.
ChatGPT doesn't do that. So what are some of the controls that
Okay.
you're trying to do?
The worst thing you can ever hear is I'm from the government. I'm here to help. I work for them. Okay. You do not want someone from the government being like, don't do this. You'll be like, why not? Do what I want. It's the worst thing that you want. right? Because just like the California AI law that got pushed up and then vetoed, does anyone know that that law got actually vetoed by Gavin Newsom? There was an AI law that said you can't make AI bigger than these parameters. And everyone went, okay, we'll just make it smaller and better. And he was like, oh, now I have to veto this and we got to rework it, right? So regulation, unlike the EU, who passes regulations on everything, but they do it in a different mindset than they do in the US, we try to straight track it things into specific areas by putting technical limitations on things, where the EU tries to put ethical limitations on things. It's a very, very different methodology and approach when it comes to lawmaking. So that is my suggestion, is don't rely on the government to do anything. Be an individual contributor as well as an executive in your own life, as well as in your organization, to move AI forward in the way that is ethical and meaningful. All right, one last question. My favorite color is blue. No, I thank you.
All right. Yeah, unrelated question.
Okay.
Do you have a badge? Can you do the FBI?
Yeah. I'd like you to post on X to the director and ask him if I have a badge. It's FBI Director Cash or Director Cash. Feel free to, it's not called Twitter anymore. It's called X and it's called a post. Feel free to tweet at him. Take a quick photo whenever you want. See how that goes when it goes back to you. You tell me when. Also, by the way, this is significantly out of date, so most of these tools are probably different names now. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate your time. Thank you.